So, I just want to talk to you guys about the supply chain for a second because I just feel like there's some stuff that I understand about it that maybe like other people don't. And it's just something that continues to come up for me more and more and more. Um, and I guess like a lot of other people are just really accustomed to like living in conditions which are like unsafe or non-functional or toxic or like hurtful in some way, and they're so accustomed to doing that they don't know like how to do something else. Like they don't know that like there's another option. It feels like this is the only option, and like this is how it's going to be forever, and there's not, another option or like another route, or there's not, better solutions to kind of the problems that exist now. And I'll just go back to this for a second, the accountability chain. So like sometimes it can feel like, oh man, like it's really hard to it's really hard to get something done. Like maybe you have a new person, right, who doesn't know how to do something. And so you're taking this time to like invest in a person because you need them to know how to do something, because hopefully this is like making your job or life easier in some way. Like hopefully that's the case, but if it's not, like I understand that too. But like hopefully that's the case. So you're doing something, you're like that's supposed to make your life easier, like training someone else in a new skill so that they know how to do something, so then like they can do it on their own, and then you won't have to do it anymore, because like the more people who know how to do stuff, the more stuff that can get done. And like that whole point of like the society that we live in, especially like capitalism, is about like production, right? So like if you're not producing anything like if you're not producing a literal commodity every day, and it's a commodity if other people want to buy it or consume it. So if you're not producing like a commodity every day, then you might not be very useful to the market. Now, here's something that's interesting about me, where I think it kind of confuses some people. So some people are very accustomed to kind of like their one node in the chain. So like let's say if they like, here's an example. So I had to go to my cousin's house the other day, right? And right now, so I don't have a car, so I take the bus. Now the bus operates on a schedule. So like at every single stop, there's a printed schedule that says at every stop where the bus is supposed to be at a particular time. Now, I just looked at the schedule ahead of time, so I was at the stop a few minutes, like 5 minutes specifically, before the bus was supposed to come to my stop. Now, the bus did not come to my stop until 30 minutes after it was supposed to arrive. So, because that happened, I had to wait at the bus stop for like 30 minutes in the cold, in the dark. It was kind of like a sketchy neighborhood, right? And like I just had to wait for the bus because the bus was my ride home. I was waiting for the bus. Um, Now, in the bus driver, I ended up putting in a little ticket for this with the AC Transit, communication funnel. Like they have an app, and it just so happens that one of the buses had to be taken out of the operating system because it was like broken or something. So then they had to bring a new bus and a new bus driver in. So that caused the entire system to kind of go out of whack. Now, the bus driver, I think that someone probably pulled her. She might have been like an on-call driver or something. Maybe this wasn't her normal route. So I don't think she really understood how like the bus being late was like impacting other people who could potentially be waiting for the bus to try to go somewhere else. I don't think like she was that far in her like logic chain, but like I personally was. So I was thinking, like, I was really upset when I got on the bus. I'm like, I've been waiting here for fucking 30 minutes. It's been so long. Like, where have you been? You should have been here by now. These are all the things that I'm thinking. I think in her mind, she was just like, look, bitch, just get on the bus. Like, like I don't care what else you're talking about. Just like get on the bus if you're gonna get on the bus, or don't get on the bus, like whichever one you're gonna do. But like, kind of like leave me alone a little bit. And I was just like, whatever. So, so anyway, so I was thinking like, um, I this to me relates in terms of like other parts of societies. I've been talking a bit about this and how it relates to like relationships, because I think some people, and I think this is just really like young naive people who believe that like pretty girls don't have a place in the society. Like, men universally at this point, I feel like they all know what like an attractive female is. They've seen them from all angles. They've seen black ones, they've seen brown ones, light skinned ones, dark skinned ones, tall ones, fat ones, short ones. They've seen all of them at this point because of the internet. So like everyone kind of knows like what an attractive girl is and what an attractive girl is not. And so I don't know why people in society are so like bogged down on this idea that like if you do something to some pretty girl, like she's no longer gonna have like a space in the society. Or really like every single person can have a space in the society, like from the security guard to the doctor to the attorney to the researcher. Like every single person has a space in the society, even the pretty girl. Like every girl, every alive human being has a space in the society. It's just more about what space that person chooses to occupy. And also there's a lot of things that people could do to like move between spaces. So you could be in one space one day and in another space a different day, depending on things like maybe like your network, like maybe your finances. Like there's a ton of different reasons why you might like navigate through spaces. But just because you're in one space one particular day doesn't mean that it's going to be like that forever or even a very long time, because things can change kind of extremely quickly. So I want to say that. And then I also want to say that it also feels like in a company, and I feel like in so many companies are understaffed. Like they don't have workers with the skills that they need to be able to do the types of jobs that would actually improve the like systems going on in their jobs. So like for instance, at the company I previously worked at, there were a lot of inefficiencies, like not processing certain trade-ins, not like just so many different things, right? That just nobody did them, they didn't get done. And so because of that, like it kind of ruins the system in a sense, right? Because there's other people who are like waiting on those things to get done, and if they don't get done, like who's gonna do them? Because like there is a sense of responsibility, like as people come and people go and people come and people go, then they have to yeah, like as people come and people go, someone has to take over the responsibilities of the person like who left, of the person who stayed. And like you, that might be you, but if you leave, or and if someone doesn't kind of like fix, if no one ever cleans up the mess that someone made when they were there, that they didn't have the opportunity to clean up or the time to clean up or the capacity or the reason, like whatever it was, then it's just like this continuous backlog, right? The backlog just fills up and up and up and up and up and up and up, and it kind of like never really gets done. Like who's gonna do it? That's a real question, and there kind of like isn't really an answer to that. And that's a thing. And I also I want to say this too. Sometimes it can feel like something happens, right? Like maybe a glass breaks, but maybe you don't realize that like that glass was actually an antique, and it had a value that was way more than the value that you are accustomed to. So in your life, you are accustomed to glasses being worth maybe $1 because you buy your glasses from the dollar store. But in this particular case, this one glass was actually worth billions of dollars because it was passed down for like 50 years. It's never touched the ground or left some antique bin. Maybe that's the case, right? And so you don't know any of this, and like, why would you? Like, you aren't uh yeah, you aren't it's not your glass, I would assume. But to someone, that glass is important, and that glass has value, and that glass is like meaningful. That person might not be you, and I'm not trying to like say it is you or encourage it to be you or anything like that. But when that glass breaks, someone has to pay for that glass. Like, there's probably like insurance on that glass because it is very valuable, even if you don't realize that it is. And so, what I'm trying to say is, like, sometimes it feels like, oh my God, this little thing happened, and you've seen other things similar to this happen before, and it feels like, oh, it's nothing, it's fine, it's whatever, it's we're just gonna move on. But then you come across a situation where the same thing that you've seen happen, so this is a pattern that you're familiar with, it happens again, but now there's something about it that was a little bit different. The importance changed because of the accountability partners. So like in this case, when I'm thinking about like the work, right, there's like accountability partners and like human resource teams. And sometimes when human resource like teams their job is to like be responsible for certain actions and encounters, and the way that things are happening within the company. And if those things aren't happening the way that they're supposed to, it can throw stuff off. Like, people might not want to like work for that company anymore. That company might start getting a bad reputation. Customers might start leaving that company. Other employees might have like negative feelings, about that company or about management or things like that. And it might like, it might alter like sales, right? So there's like all of those things happening at the same time, and it might really feel like, oh well, it's only this one little thing that's happened that you are familiar with, but it's just because you don't understand like the downstream effects that you feel like, well, it's only this one thing, this is it, it's not the other stuff, when in actuality there's like a lot of downstream effects from that. I think maybe I can go into greater detail here at a later time and date to kind of unpack what, give more examples of like how this actually plays out in maybe like a workplace or on a team or in a company. I can probably give a lot of examples from my own experience. Um, but for now, yeah, that's really like all I have to say. So, cool.